Our eldest child was born to me in 2012. 3.5 years later, we adopted our second daughter. Watching the siblings blend and bond, witnessing the transformation of both my daughters was one of the most enchanting experiences of our lives. Itna maza aaya, I could almost hear my heart say once more. We decided to have a third child, adoption being our chosen path. Conversations about a new sibling, the excitement of a new baby, how a little brother could be different, just how much more mischievous could he get? The girls just couldn't stop chatting about what to expect. It was then that my 5-year-old was teased on a school bus by a classmate on not having a sibling of her own. The boy in question, her classmate, had a sibling in my younger one's class, and he simply explained her have-not to my daughter. My brother is my own, but your sister is not your own. Hurt by the accusation and having no defense whatsoever, my daughter rushed back to her nanny and whispered her worry into her ear. What if the new baby mama brings home is also not my own? Adoption is an open secret in our home, and we have had many conversations with both our daughters about the two different ways of having a child. Yet, my child was unprepared for this one. Back at work, I recollect. A colleague told me that he aspired to adopt a daughter after his son, but his wife insisted on having her own. A friend struggling with IVF approached me for details of the Central Adoption Research Authority and was quickly rebuked by her mother-in-law to have her own. All this confused me. I looked at both my daughters, the elder one resting peacefully on my shoulder, the younger one asleep, clutching onto my arm, and I asked myself, which of these is not my own? I decided to take a deep dive, to read, reflect, interrogate, and understand the meaning of the word that we use so commonly, own. The Oxford Dictionary is always a good starting point. Now, when I thought of all these meanings in a deeper sense, I realized that there was nothing that really belonged to me except perhaps for my body and my soul. After all, it's the only stuff that I came with, right? Yet again, if I die and my family decides not to honor my wishes and donate my organs, their wish prevails, which means even my body is not my own. True that, the Holy Gita deems that the body does not belong to us. Surely there must be more to own than mere ownership. Let us take the example of a piece of land jointly inherited by 5 brothers. The ownership deed mentions 5 names. That's the legal own. 4 of these are busy leading urban lives. One of them tends to the land, tills the soil, softens it to make it seed ready, nurtures it with compost, looks over it day after day. After years and months of looking over it to protect it from the elements, nurturing it, one fine morning, it breaks into a beautiful bloom. Now, while all 5 brothers may claim a legal share of the profits, who truly owns this land? To 4 of these 5 brothers, this land is like 1,000 others. But one of them is now owned by this land. His little romance with this piece of earth has made him own it in a way legal documents and banknotes cannot. The concept of biological own is even more intriguing. In today's time, there are multiple ways to have a child: natural conception, assisted reproduction, IUI with paternal sperm, IUI with donor sperm, IVF with parent genetic material, IVF with donor genetic material, surrogacy with parent genetic material, and surrogacy with donor genetic material. Yet each of these methods gives you your own child. But a baby born miles away, who seeks me out with a magnetism so strong that I can hear her soul call mine, is not labeled my own. Possession, ladies and gentlemen, is a space created by sharing experiences, blending thoughts and imbibing values, and exchange in which the space between two individuals ceases to exist, yet each of them retains their individuality. Like the horizon, where the sky owns the earth, and the earth owns the sky. Yet the line between them, so clearly visible to all of us, is but imaginary. Sharing a small amount of nucleic acid does not give anyone ownership of me or allow me to claim ownership of someone, but yes, an offspring who has inherited my values, shared my thoughts, and conquered my emotional and mental space, owns me without need for license or certification. Conflict in our world exists because of our skewed understanding of my own. My own religion, my own caste, my own language, my own land, my own boundaries, my own patients, my own problems, my own family. The list is endless. Let us take the example of the wise Dronacharya from the legendary Mahabharata, who was faced with this conflict at least twice during his lifetime. The talented Arjun versus his son Ashwathama. He chose to broaden his concepts of own, imparted special training to the worthy Arjun, and was immortalized as the revered teacher of the world's greatest archer. Later in the great battle, he was faced with the same conflict, this time bound by parental and genetic boundaries. He chose his son. He fought to the side of the Kauravas, and his attachment to his own son made the invincible Guru lose his life. Another example from the Ramayana. King Dashrath, craving for his own, sought assisted reproduction and had 4 sons. His queen's myopic vision of her own son's coronation led to the king's untimely demise. Janak, on the other hand, had a deeper understanding of own. He chose to adopt 4 daughters, and fathering the wise Sita attained him the path of salvation. Harmony exists and reigns when we broaden our perspective of own. We won't litter if we consider the footpath and the city to be our own. We work ungrudgingly if we consider the hospital to be our own. We pay taxes willingly because the nation is our own. We pledge to be plastic free because the earth is our own. We love all mankind because we have realized that God is our own. Messi owned the last 10 minutes of the FIFA World Cup. Friends, when we make a statement like that about a game belonging to an individual, we refer to the dominant person in a process, owning the process. In Hindi, the word for own is apna. My solution for this conflict is apna lo.